You got it, girl. It's all you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mortgage Pros 411. I'm Audrey Boyce-Snow and my co-host Kevin Casey with beautiful Megan Anderson joining us today. It is
From lovely New Jersey.
Yes, it's rainy here. I'm wishing I was near your guys' sunshine right now.
Yeah, well, we would like to trade a little bit with you because it is.
No, we don't. It's not the right season for rain. Destroys crops. I was talking to a vintner.
It's true.
Big crops were destroyed from that last rain we had.
Oh no, really?
It's true. It's actually a really bad thing, which is not helping fight this inflation that we have going on.
Yep.
Tons of crops in California are getting demolished. They're like saving the avocados or olives or something because that's the one that returns the most, but trashing everything else essentially because of mold.
Tough life being a farmer.
All right, that's it. We're not going to start off on
Thank God
the whole world is falling
down. That's all we gotta say, right?
Good God. Okay, so first of all, I would just like to take a moment and thank God September's over. Shall we do that?
Yes.
A moment of thanks, just because that month was horrific. Like 2022 was brutal. September was the worst. So it's over. We're seeing some green in the markets. Don't expect it to continue. Just like always be on guard. We know that it's a big week this week. We have jobs report coming up. And we're not going to dive too much into the economy today. We'll do some on that because you got to have content. But our focus today with Miss Megan Anderson from MBS Highway is social media and things that we can be doing. And just so you guys know, we're thinking a lot about this because, I mean, you can only listen to so much as far as data goes. And then you just need to work on your business. And that's what we should all be doing because we need to make a decision to have good fourth quarters. I'm talking to realtors right now and they have business, not the ones who are afraid, mind you, but the people who are just embracing this and understanding that this is a cycle. You always want to buy when nobody else wants to buy. And we will get out of this rate environment, but it's fear that's dominating a lot of what's happening right now. And that's not good. So it is our job to stay ahead of that and to make sure that we stay focused on our business. And Kevin, what were you saying today about the number of people who have not done their MLS?
Really crazy stat. People are not renewing their NMLS units at horrific rates. That we're only about a third of people that would normally have renewed their licenses at this time of the year have only renewed. Only a third. Yeah. So
it's not even. You said 27%, right?
Yeah, it's worse than, and it's less than a third. I was trying to make it simple numbers.
Yeah, we're all supposed to be numbers people, so we should be able to handle 27%.
Of course,
right?
that was 3 days ago, so maybe it is by 33% by now. So who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
And we do have some classes coming up, so maybe we personally will get it over the 100% mark. Just the two of us teaching.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, so our next one is when we're teaching.
Off the top of my head, we have a couple next week that we're teaching portions of Cal Expo in Oakland. We are teaching that one. I believe that is next Wednesday.
Who's in the morning? Is it Dave in the morning?
It's David, Luna in the morning, and then we come in and tag team with him.
Are we the cleanup crew? What is that?
I think we have to clean up because we have to calm down the rioters. They're probably not going to be really happy with the class or something. We have to come in and calm them down.
Last time I went to that thing in Oakland, there were picketers outside of that hotel, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's the hotel with the iron.
I don't know.
Gates
I do not know. But anyway, if you want free NMLS next week, you show up on the 12th.
The day before, go to the Cal Expo, get your little card, clean it up.
That's right.
And then show up to the class for free.
And just for the record, again, even though it doesn't cost you money to do it, it doesn't mean it's cheap because we'll be there. So there you go. So that is on the 13th. And then I don't know.
The next day, Thursday, Silicon Valley, San Jose. We're teaching for a Silicon Valley camp for the same thing. Dave Luna in the morning, and then we'll leave him and kind of make everybody happy that he's gone. No, I'm joking. We love Dave Luna.
Yeah, really.
Quite the opposite. We actually get Megan. We actually get. Whoa! Wait! I thought Dave Luna was going to be teaching this class. So we have to sit there and tell them how good. We're at least we're somewhat close to David Luna. We may be a little bit shy, but by the end, they're usually happy with us.
Yes. Yeah,
how would you not be? They're going to be laughing. I'm telling you, these two, you want to go to a class with them. It's going to be a fun way to spend your day. Let me tell you.
Well, it's just like this, but for 8 hours. It's the only difference.
Well, yeah, so that's either great or awful, depending on your perspective. We did get really good feedback from a class we did in Southern California last week or the week before, 20 years ago. I don't know, I can't track time. So anyway, bottom line, guys, we have an NMLS class coming up on I think it's the 18th of October. I'll be doing that online for
Orange County?
South LA, Orange County chapter of camp. So these should be you should be able to find all this on the Mortgage Educators website. Tom Barnes, I saw your request, and if you text me, I will
I
find
would say just go
for
to
you
the
to
Cal
send it to you.
Expo, Google Cal Expo.
Or is it called Originator? Okay, we're not even sure what
Originator
it's called. It
Connect.
could be Originator Connect. All right, moving right along. That's enough on that, for goodness sake. Okay, Jobs Week. Do not take your foot off of the lock button, okay? Just want to make sure. All right. Oh, Julie Malta just said that she thought it was the 24th. That's a different one, Julie. Okay, we'll just cover these like the week before. We're doing one at Sausalito Yacht Club, which is, gosh, the most glorious view you've ever seen. So you can like just stare out the window and listen to us drone on all day and be happy. So that's with San Francisco Peninsula Camp, right, Kevin?
Yes, that is on
Okay.
the 24th.
Okay, so there are some options, both live and online. So do not dilly-dally, people, because again, and by the way, did you get a thing? I've heard from like 4 people. I just got a notice saying that I had to have a new set of fingerprints and like another criminal background check with the DFPI. Holy guacamole. Did you get that?
I did not, but I don't have the criminal activities that you seem to have that would trigger that.
Oh, really? Really, Mr. Casey? Oh my goodness. So
I believe, how many years has it been since you had your thing? It was,
I don't know, but did my fingerprints change? No.
yes, they do. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. How stupid of
You have
me.
to make sure they were really yours.
No, they don't believe anything. No.
Well,
Megan, that was
I
it.
renewed my I expanded my NMLS and I got my Oregon license, and they made me take fingerprints all over again. So maybe they have to keep fresh fingerprints in there. Maybe they have to rerun your credit report again to see that.
No, they didn't say that. They just said criminal background check and fingerprints. And by the way, me and 3 other people that I've talked to, maybe more. So I'm just was curious if anyone.
I don't know. I think it's something you did, Audrey.
I think you should check your email. It's probably there and you just didn't read it. Okay, moving right along. So we are expecting to have job creation to continue a little bit. Or ADP and BLS, or ADP is on Wednesday, BLS is on Friday. Just be aware. Don't mess around. Don't get too excited by the green you're seeing in the market. It could change on a dime, as we all know. So it's
dead
better
cat bounce.
What?
It's called a dead cat bounce.
Ew, that's disgusting. I'm sure you just offended a lot of cats somewhere. So anyway, there you go. The Fed members are out there talking. I thought it was fascinating that the UN has asked the federal reserves around the world, whatever their version of it is, to take a pause, to either slow down or stop raising interest rates so fast, because they are worried that they're going to pummel us into a worldwide recession that's, hard to get out of. So I've never heard of that happening. Have you?
I have not, but I've been watching the numbers internationally, and like the euro and the pound and everything else. Everyone's like, oh, they're going down. Like, no, the dollar is so strong because it is a safe haven. Every time the Fed raises rates, it makes the US dollar more valuable to other currencies. So people are selling their euros and they're buying dollars. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. It's always interesting.
It goes back to the adjustable rate mortgages here in the United States. We don't have a lot, and the rest of the world has mostly adjustable rate loans. So when their feds raise rates, it goes straight to the pockets of their citizens, versus the United States, it's slow to hit the pockets of the citizens. And therefore, our Fed can raise rates quicker, and it has less of an effect, versus in Europe, they raise their Fed rates a little bit, it has an immediate effect. So I'm not saying everyone should be taking out adjustable rate loans, but it allows the government to slow
what do
the
you think
economy
those HELOCs are going to be? All right, let's get going with Megan, shall we?
Yeah.
And be careful when your clients are talking about doing HELOCs. Make sure you're running their payments with perhaps a 9.75% HELOC rate. Okay. All right. When you're doing the comparisons, Megan, let's talk about social media. I know this is near and dear to your heart. This is how we met in the beginning, right? This is
Yes,
what we
it is.
bonded over years ago. And so let's get back to basics and talk about what we can and should be doing in our businesses.
Well, listen, it's obvious that things have slowed down a little bit as of right now due to the market. No surprise there. But I like to think about these things as having opportunities to work on our business. When we were so slammed, all we could do was keep up with all the applications coming in. But now we have some time, and now's when we really need to be thinking about building our business. Not to mention, many of you are MBS Highway subscribers. You watch our morning update every single day. You guys just had Barry on not too long ago. We do believe at the end of this year, first part of next year, we will start to see rates come down simply because inflation is going to be coming down. And, how great is it to be utilizing the CRM system, basically, that is free? You don't have to pay for it to stay up to date and have multiple touch points with potential referral partners, current referral partners, potential clients, closed clients. Because one thing that I want us all here to remember is all the purchase transactions that you're doing today, that's going to be your bread and butter refinance business into the future. But we have to make sure that they think of you when those rates do come down. And one way that you can do that is through social media and educating people through social media. I'm a big fan of educational content. Now, you can see all types of content out there, and I'm not telling you guys, you have to choose educational content. If you like to do the little dancing and pointing, go ahead and do that.
Who does
Whatever
that?
your style is, do that.
Okay,
But
keep in mind.
educational content is huge.
Yeah, we agree 100%. I mean, the bottom line is we've got all these headlines that are being flung at our borrowers all the time, and most of the time they're wrong. So the headline does not match reality, and it is our job to make sure that our borrowers understand reality. Otherwise, they're scared to death. If you just read the headlines, you're scared. So take this time to really focus on what to do. So what do we do, Megan?
One thing that I would really start doing if you're not doing it yet is definitely video. When you do video, it's going to position you as that trusted advisor. And, just it starts to listen, I could hear someone's name 10 times and I still wouldn't remember their name. But when I see their face one time, I'm going to remember that person. And I think a lot of people are very much the same. They might not remember my name when they see me on social media, but they're going to remember my face. And the more that they see my face over a given time period, that's going to start to build up that trust and that reputation. And so you want to get started with social video. Now, I hear all the time, well, I don't know what to say. I have a face made for radio. Listen, at the end of the day, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about your favorite actors or actresses. Are they drop dead tens? Why do you like them? Oftentimes they're not going to be those drop dead tens, right? They're funny. That's why we like them, or whatever the case may be. They're wholesome. That's why we like them.
Or not
And
wholesome.
we need to remember that. Or they're not wholesome, and that's why we like them. Yes.
Whatever.
Badasses.
People fall in love with you for different reasons. So do not be afraid to show up and be who you are.
Be real. Yeah.
Yes.
We were talking about this before. There's a guy on TikTok, some mortgage guy, and he is so unpolished, so unprofessional. And it's like, and he's got like millions of hits. And it's like, what's up with that?
He's a compliance violation waiting to
Oh
happen.
yeah, that's the other thing to be careful of.
He isn't doing anything
Careful of
right.
that.
So guys, just a caution to remember that if you start talking about rates or
Payments.
which is all he talks about, you are really required to have APRs and all sorts of disclosures. Make sure when you start doing this, your NMLS number is really visible, right, Megan?
Yes, and all states are different too. So you got to go by state to see, what's appropriate and what you
But
need.
you know what? Just pick the state that is the most particular and do it that way. So have your NMLS number front and center. That way you don't have to worry about what if some, guy who's working for a regulator in Washington or whatever picks it up and decides to, whatever. So
It's
just,
not a complaint, yeah.
yeah,
These are
don't.
weird
pick
little things,
markers.
because even if your company's licensed in Washington's a great example. Your company's licensed in Washington, but you're only licensed in Tennessee. You have to follow Washington state rules on advertising because your company is licensed there. And that one rule is you have to have your NMLS number next to your name, right next to your name.
Right.
That's like the first point of contact.
And Grant is saying license number 2. And so depending on what state you're in, some states
Mhm.
don't have license numbers. It just depends. Whatever applies to you, make sure you're doing it. For
Yeah.
sure, NMLS number, and if you've got a license number also. And then, yeah, so just run it by a compliance person, make sure that you're doing it right. Because once it's out there in social media world, it is there forever.
Yeah,
Someone
so it
takes a
happened to-
screenshot, even if you pull it down, it's still there. So just make sure compliance. Okay, go Megan.
And, I just want to say too, because oftentimes when I start talking to people about utilizing social media and this talk about compliance comes up, they freak out. And oftentimes people say, you know what, I don't even know if I want to get started because
Mhm.
I'm afraid of stepping on toes and afraid of doing all this. And I understand that, but there's a lot of content that we can create that's going to be a lot more generalized that isn't going to get you in that kind of trouble.
Right.
And so maybe that's where we start, is with that type of content. And then if
Keep it
there is
simple.
something where maybe you want to talk about a specific rate or something like that, then you have your one-offs that you really need to focus on going to the compliance department and seeing if this is compliant. And it's a slow process of learning how to do it and how not to do it. But again, don't let it stop you, because
Right.
there's tons of general topics. How does the mortgage system work? I don't even know how to get a mortgage. How
Right.
much do I need for a down payment? None of
Mhm.
that stuff is going to, get you in trouble if you leave off certain stuff.
Should
Right.
I buy now? What's going on with the market? How do mortgages do during recessions? All of those things we cover every week, right? So
Yeah.
those are great topics that aren't going to get you into compliance hot water. When you start quoting rates and stuff. So again, license number, name a company, a few basic things. And that's easy to run by someone, make sure you're compliant there, and then just go to the races. Just take the headlines and take them apart and explain them briefly. How long should these things be, Megan? Tell us about that.
Well, it depends upon the video platform that you want to be utilizing. Now, I would say most of us, we're thinking about utilizing things like Facebook and Instagram, maybe in TikTok, things like that. And in those platforms, shorter form is better, especially because a lot of these, Instagram, for example, they're really promoting Instagram Reels, which is short form video. And the reason that they're promoting that, and the reason that we want to be utilizing it, is because they're promoting it. So they're going to put more weight towards that algorithm, which is going to get your content seen. They're
Mhm.
going to put more weight towards that. And the reason that they're doing that is because they're trying to get people off of TikTok, another platform which does something similar. So for any of these, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you want your videos to be on the shorter side, anywhere from 10 seconds to max a minute. I would say the sweet spot is probably around like 35 to 40 seconds. That's
Mhm.
going to be a really great time frame. Now, let's say that you're like, man, oh man, like I don't know about short form content. Like I really like long form content. I love to get on these webinars. I love to interview people. Let's just say that that's the kind of content that you like doing. Well, that's fine. Then pick a different platform. Like you guys just started your YouTube channel. That's a greater place for that long form content. But then what you can do to create that short form content for Facebook, for TikTok, for Instagram, you can chop that big 60-minute session into short little micro videos. And so that way it also is easier on you, because you're not getting out there and having to be like, okay, I need to create 5 videos today. No, from one episode, you could create probably anywhere from 5 to 10 different pieces of micro content. Now that's going to add up real quick, and you're not going to have to do content for a while.
Mhm.
Okay, so if the thought of doing this myself is like fingers on a chalkboard, for me, what would somebody else who feels similarly do? So are you able to help people? Do you have resources? I know that you're willing to do some coaching. Tell us a little bit about that, pretty please.
Yeah, so if you guys just don't know where to get started with, how do I get started with social media? What should be my tactic? What do I need to fix? Just where do I start? Um, what I am offering you guys today is a 30-minute coaching call. That's $90. You just need to email me if you're interested. It's Megan, MEGAN at mbshighway.com. And that's a great place to get started. The way that I really help people specifically is I help them form their video content. I'm not going to get in there. I'm not going to film it for them, but I will help them create the topics. I will help them master the video, get them to where they're, not looking all awkward in the frame, not feeling awkward, but just so they have a great script that they can go ahead and follow and know specifically what they need to do from start to finish and how to upload it. Various hashtags. I know that was brought up in the comment section. We'll go over more of like a content type strategy. I do have different people that I can connect you with. If you're the type of person that's like, listen, I don't want to do any of this. I want someone like just to do it all for me. I do have connections that I can make in that regard. But I will say be wary of companies that are just going to post this vanilla type of content. Because again, if we want to build our reputation, if we want to build it as that trusted advisor and really convert leads to the highest potential that we can, I just think you really have to, at the end of the day, have your face in the video. Now, the other option, if you can say, okay, you know what, I'm great at getting on video, I can film the video, but like, I don't want to have to do all the stuff afterwards. Then you can hire different types of people out there. You can go to Fiverr, have someone edit the video for you. Because listen, I'll be honest, when it comes to my social media and the various type of content, I'm the person, I'll film the video all day, every day. I'll get behind the camera, I'll talk about it. I don't like to do any of that nitty gritty stuff. I don't like to do the editing. It takes me forever. I don't mind actually posting it though. I don't mind posting it and I don't mind managing the comments. But when it comes to editing, I don't want to do that. And so you have to get really clear with what it is that you want to do and what you don't want to be doing. And editing, as far as I'm concerned, it does take a long time to learn how to do it very properly. Not to mention, you have to think about the fact that you have to go back through and rewatch all of your videos, which, let alone for people when they're just getting started with social video, is very challenging for them
Daunting.
to even go back and watch their videos. I've seen people where they finally get the courage to post a video, they go back and watch it. What do? They delete it right away because they start judging themselves. And do not judge yourself. Listen, this is all about progress. We can, with anything in life, when it's something new, we can sit there and we can overwhelm ourselves. Oh, that means that I have to do this. That means that I have to post this. I have to post here every day or 3 times a day. That means I have to come up with this many topics. That means that I have to film. That means that I have to edit. That means I have to follow up with all these comments. Oh my gosh. And you know what? We get so overwhelmed that we stop ourselves from even taking action.
Right.
Listen, I don't care if your first video is terrible. I don't care if you don't have any video editing skills and you just get on and you film a video and you post it. And maybe your videos are kind of crappy for a while. That's okay, because after a while, you'll start to realize, oh, look at these comments. They're really great. I really helped that person feel better about moving forward with this. Like, this is my purpose. This is why I'm here. It feels awesome that I was able to help this person. And then you'll be like, you know what? Maybe I want to improve my lighting. What can I do to improve my lighting? Oh, maybe I want to improve my video. Yeah. And it's just, it's a process, but we forget about that because we're so insecure in ourselves and what we're putting out there that we just never get started. And honestly, it's quite sad because there's not many people out there, especially in this industry. I'm starting to see a lot more, but there are still very few that are out there doing this and doing it well.
Yeah, no, the trick is to just start doing it and then tweak it as you go. Josh Pitts from Shred Media, he started out and all he did was commit that he was going to do a short video every day.
Yep.
And I think I was with them for number 5 or so, and I was like, well, that's a big commitment. I'm thinking that's 360 more to go, but he did it. Because he had that commitment. When he first started, he was doing them from his car. He was doing, now he's got this huge production with lighting and all this other stuff. It's just
what's really important about what you said right there is he came in with a commitment.
Yep.
And I think that is really important. And I want to talk about that really quickly, because oftentimes what I see people do is, okay, I'm ready to get started with social media. I'm going to do this. But they come up with this crazy goal, if they even come up with one. Sometimes they just say, I'm going to start with it. And then obviously it never gets started on. But then
Yep.
there's those people that say, you know what, I'm going to post 3 times a day because that's what I heard from this social media guru. I'm going to post 3 times a day and that's my goal. Okay, well, there's going to be days where you're not able to post 3 times a day, and that's going to come up really quick. Or you're going to be crazy, just like, you know, when January rolls around and we're all like, I'm going to go get fit. And we go to the gym and we're in the gym working hard for 2 weeks. Our diet's all cleaned up. By 2 weeks, we're so exhausted. We're so sore. We're so tired. We never step foot in the gym again for another 3 months. When you're defining what this goal is, I want it to be so simplistic to start out that it would be silly if you there's
do.
it almost like you'd have to put work in to not achieve it. Because you
Yep.
know what happens is when we start small and we achieve it, it starts to build our own confidence. Now we say, oh, you know what? I did that. And now we start increasing it and increasing it and increasing it. I did this with meditation. I started off, I had a goal. I'm going to meditate 10 minutes a day for a week. Then I hit a week and I said, you know what? I'm going to go 15 days. I hit 15 days and I said, you know what? I'm going to go a month. And now I'm on day 34. So it's all about these small little commitments and increasing them over time.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to, again, that's how I got myself to the gym to begin with. I set that bar so low that it was not even, you and I have talked about this, Megan. I mean, I said, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym once a week. I'm gonna walk on the treadmill really slowly for like 5 minutes, right? And I knew myself. I knew that I would push myself beyond that, but it is no joke. So make it I'm going to post every 2 weeks, or make it, I'm going to post whatever, like make it something that is more than doable. And I love that it's short, Megan. So if we're talking about 35 to 60 seconds, then that is so much easier than trying to think of, oh, I got to fill an hour, right?
Well,
So,
yes and no, though,
okay,
because
tell us.
I feel like the thing about short form content is you have to be really concise. And
Right.
oftentimes, you know, if there's something that we're passionate about, you know, it's really easy to begin rambling on and make that minute, you know, less impactful. I remember when I first started doing videos for social media, I would come in with the topic I'd be super excited about, but this video ended up being like 3 minutes long when realistically, if I had kept it short and concise, it could have been 30 seconds. And the
Mhm.
thing is when you make the same point repetitively, it loses its punch and its effectiveness. And so that's why still to this day, with how much video that I've done and continue to do, I like to follow a video structure. And the video structure, I like to start off with a hook. Now, the hook is going to draw in the target audience, and the target audience is the person that you are wanting to watch this video. So let's say, you know, your target audience is first-time home buyers, okay? So within the first 5 to 7 seconds of the video, we want them to know this video is for first-time home buyers. And then what you're going to do after you hook them in. So let's say, again, first time home buyers, let's say it's, you know, have you been thinking about purchasing a home, but due to the talk of a recession, you're a little bit terrified? I don't care, whatever it is, you know, you take that problem that they're experiencing. Are you thinking about purchasing a home, but you don't know where to start? Okay. You hook them in. They
Mhm.
know this video is for them. First 5, 7 seconds.
Yep.
Then after that, that's when you go into the payoff or solution. So that's when you start providing, you know, different solutions. Let's say that they have a belief that they need to put 20% down. Well, you know, that's not really the case. You go into solutions. And then what you do is then you go into the call to action. And that's the next step that you want them to take. And people oftentimes want to leave this out, but it's the most important aspect of a video. I've seen far too many videos out there where people are giving so much value, but then they don't tell them where to go next. They don't say schedule a meeting with me or tag someone below that could benefit from this video or, you know, send me an email. No, they don't say anything like that. And so you know what that does? That gets that person to shift their beliefs. Before the video, they were like, oh, homeownership is a terrible idea. They watched the video. Now they're shifting their beliefs, thinking, oh, this is a great idea. Then they go to YouTube and they end up finding your competitor and going to your competitor. So don't do that. You want the hook, you want the solution, you want the call to action.
Hooks.
Good point.
Okay, so we have somebody who's asking if you could give a mock 30-second sample. If I time
Yeah.
you, can you do it?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so hang on. So hook, solution, call to action. Did everyone get that? All right, so I'm gonna time you, Megan.
Okay, hold on. What do
you
we
tell
want
me-
my topic to be about?
Why should I can't buy now. We're going into a recession.
All right.
All right. Hang on. I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna interrupt you rudely at 30 seconds. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, you start, I'll time.
Go.
Okay, hold on. Have you been thinking about purchasing a home, but you're a little bit terrified with all the negative media headlines that have been going around talking about a recession? Well, here's the thing, team, is right now is a beautiful opportunity to get in home ownership. Simply because if you were to purchase 6 to 8 months prior, I got to restart this. We're restarting. I went off on a tangent.
We're doing perfect.
No,
But
I know,
this-
but
but
I
you
have
know
a
what?
different thing.
I love that they're seeing, this is what somebody who's done 8 million videos does. This is what you do. You
This
do
is what
it.
you do.
Yes, and then you can start over. It's fine.
Not to mention you come in with it with notes. You're really putting me on the spot, but let's
I am
go.
totally, but you can handle it because you're super
Yeah.
smart. Go.
Have you been thinking about purchasing a home, but you're a little bit terrified due to all the negative media headlines that have been going around talking about the economy entering a recession? Well, here's the thing, team. When we take a look historically at what home prices have done during past recessions, in all of the past recessions, aside from 2008 and 2007, we saw home prices appreciate in a positive rate. And then I could show the graph behind me.
That's right.
And I could say, so don't hesitate if you have questions about today's market. I'm Megan Anderson with XYZ Mortgage. Reach out to me today.
Done. That's 30 seconds. Great job. And that was on the fly. So okay, so I haven't told this story in a very long time. Kevin's heard it 8 million times. And I think you have too. So when we first started doing this show in lockdown of 2020 or whenever the heck that was, I wouldn't get on camera. Remember that, Kevin? And I was the voice, right? I'm like, nobody wants to see my face. There's no reason for me to be on there. Absolutely not. Someone else do the presentation, blah, blah, blah.
I had to drag her kicking and screaming.
Kevin's a bully, just in case you didn't know, he's a bully. So he finally bullied me into getting a camera. I didn't get one of the lights because they were out of them on Amazon at the time, right? So finally, I get on camera. The first time I recorded a video to like post on Facebook was right around the same time. It involved all 3 of my children, countless Post-it notes that I had on their faces because it was eye level where I could see them.
Yeah.
And they were recording, right? I think it took us I forget what the number was, 28, 32. It was a huge number, the number of takes. We were all on the floor laughing and crying by the end of it, but I got it done. It wasn't perfect. It certainly wasn't beautiful, but it happened, right? So just do it. Just do it. Do exactly what Megan said to do. Run it by one of us. We'd love to be your feedback. We would love to do that for you. Someone called me the other day and they were feeling down in the dumps. They didn't have the kind of support they felt they needed in their office. They're trying to figure out what to do with themselves, right? So we had it wasn't a long conversation, but in the course of that conversation, we figured out she speaks Spanish. She is in an area where that could be the focus for her business. And so we came up with this idea of what she could do to grow her business right now, how to start putting it together. I mean, this kind of thing, you just have to do it. And you have to think outside the box. And I've talked about this before. A lot of us have just referral businesses, right? But the reality of today is people will go online and they're going to Google everything ahead of time. So even if somebody refers them to you, they're still going to check you out. I had a realtor yesterday. He's like, oh, I'm like, okay, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I know. I already did my homework on you. It was good. But he was able to see online that I had experience and that I had reviews and that I had all those things. So even though I'm a ding dong when it comes to most of this stuff, I have that going for me. So
I had the exact same thing happen to me yesterday also. They looked me up, oh wow, you've got a, serious background, blah, blah, blah. I do want to add a little caveat to Megan's thing about the other thing you have to do is you have to give yourself a deadline.
That's great.
Because you have to say, I'm going to start doing this on this date, and you have to, no matter what, start on that date. It doesn't matter if you're 100% ready or not, you just go, and then you tweak and fix as you move forward. That's how we did it with ours, because we had like, hey, we got to get this on because we got to get this information out. And we gave ourselves a very short deadline. And at first, like I said, we weren't even, I was on the camera, she was not on the camera. It looked kind of funny. It's like, here's this talking box, but eventually we kept tweaking. My background was terrible behind the scenes. We actually had someone come back and say, here's what you need to do for your backgrounds. And we had, shows on that. Well, if I'm having someone talk about it, I got to fix up the background a little bit. Reality is I'm out of a closet. So, I had to have something behind me.
Right. So it's not like you just said you just came out of the closet, but what he's saying is his office is a closet.
Yes.
So there's no lighting in there. So it actually is easier. We were talking about that earlier because I have 2 big windows in my office and the lighting's always changing. And I was just saying, I got to fix mine because it's not really working. It looks terrible. I know that. I just don't know what else to do. And I haven't addressed it. So, and this is what we've been doing this 2 3/4 years at this point. We've done hundreds and hundreds of these. It's just, and we're still having to adjust and change things and grow. So
grow and face challenges and all the internet stuff that we have to face and challenges, like,
Irma is saying she has anxiety just thinking about it. Trust me, honey. I couldn't agree more. The thought of this oh my gosh, it used to freak me out.
And look how far you've gone.
I know. And now I'm like, fine, point a camera at me. I know it is what it is, right? It's not going to look perfect. I don't look perfect. Nobody looks perfect. Even people who are perfect think they don't look perfect. And again, to Megan's point, it doesn't matter because we don't like and love people because they look so great. It's because what's falling out of their mouth is good. So content.
I also want to say to that as well, if there are other ways that you can ease that anxiety in the beginning, do so. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a lot of anxiety just having what?
Wine.
Oh, wine. Yeah, the shots of tequila in the chat box is a great idea too. But aside from that, if, maybe you have a lot of anxiety just having you go up on camera, but maybe you don't have as much anxiety if it's you and your real estate agent going behind camera. And maybe you do something like we're doing here where, this is more interview style. Everyone talks and that takes the pressure off. Then great, you can create content around that and focus specifically on that. So that's one way you can ease the anxiety. The other thing too is like when I started off doing video, I'll be honest, I could not rewatch my videos. I just had to go ahead and I had to post them because if I rewatched them, I would sit there, I would get in my head and I'd say, oh my gosh, I said that word wrong, my tone of voice on this one, my inflection on that, my hair went into my lipstick there, like, I get in my head.
That's our secret. Don't watch your old videos. Just put them out there.
Don't watch them.
Yeah.
Kevin has a horrible problem with his hair getting in his lipstick too. So you'll get through it. It'll be fine. Frank is asking whether hashtags matter on Reels.
Yeah, so hashtags you do want to use on Reels, but you want to use them in the text format in the post. So don't do it as a separate comment. Do it in the caption when you're posting it. And
so they can click on it versus having to type it in. That's what you're saying.
What?
So they can click on the hashtag versus have to type it in the hashtag.
It just favors in the algorithm better that way. Also, you want to limit your hashtags to around like 4 or 5 hashtags and make sure that they are appropriate to the video. Because the whole reason that you want to use hashtags is you want to get kind of on that trending page for whatever it is. And that's going to get your content seen and it be more visible. So you definitely want to use hashtags, especially on Instagram. I think Instagram very much is almost like a search engine. You know, if I'm going to go on vacation somewhere, I'm looking up restaurants, I'm looking at the hashtag of the restaurant, I'm seeing what other people said. It's very much a search engine. So you do want to use them, make sure they were appropriate to the video, and keep them 4 to 5. Don't go crazy with it.
I know somebody who posts for their business all the time, and they have like 5 or 6 lines of
Too
hashtags.
much.
Like, it's crazy. I don't know
And you
where
see
they got the
people
idea.
laugh at it for that, you know.
I laugh. I know. So you're
Uh-huh.
like, mortgage professional, first time home buyer, go 49ers. The weather is great, and buy a house now. No? So, oh my goodness. So somebody was saying that they did talk radio for 16 plus years for an hour. He said, never go back. I mean, that's basically what we do. And I'll tell you, there are times that the hours just fly, like fly by,
Mhm.
fly. So it just depends on the day and the moment and the topic. But again, nobody's talking about doing hour-long videos. Don't do that. Don't start there. It's too much. And then Emily's asking whether it's enough just to have your NMLS number on your profile. My suggestion is you would want your name, your NMLS number. You've got to have your company name, you know, the things that you would need to have on any advertisement for a regulatory agency. You got to have that on your
More is better.
Yes.
You know, just if in
Yes.
doubt, add it. What does it care? You know, no one
Yeah.
cares what your NMLS number is, honestly, in the real world. The only people that care about your NMLS number is CFPB and a couple of state regulators. Honestly, no one else seems to care about it.
That's true, but we still need
And
to.
your competitor is looking for it. So they turn you in. That's probably the only other one that will watch out for.
Yeah. We talked about this. Your competitors are the ones who will turn you in. So just, you know, don't chintz on knowing whether or not something is going to be compliant, right?
Yes.
You've got to make sure that you are keeping that part safe. So what things are safe versus not safe to talk about? Robin is asking. I would say rates are probably dangerous, especially on a day where you have 155 basis point swing. That is probably not a great idea to, you know, like I keep joking that you should timestamp your mortgage quotes, because I mean, somebody says, oh, I talked to so-and-so and this was the rate. I'm like, okay, that was at least 32 minutes ago and the rates have changed 5 times since then. So, right. So make sure you're watching other people's LEs, but when you're online, I wouldn't do rates. I'd be careful with payments. And again, avoid trigger words. Be familiar with all of the advertising rules that have already been set forth for print advertising, et cetera. Those apply to us here too, right? Right, Kevin? This is something we're covering pretty extensively in our NMLS training this year.
Yeah, because people keep getting it wrong. That's why they want to keep teaching it every year.
That's right. The fact that it's in the NMLS 8 hours is an indication that when they are doing their exams, these are the problems they're finding. So we don't want to be that, right? So anything that and again, don't say things are easy. Don't talk, you know what I mean? Like, be
Don't
careful.
oversell. Don't oversell. But actually, Megan had the best example. Talk about things that are questions that we know the answers to. What do you do when there's multiple offers? You know, how do you become the offer that gets it? There's nothing in compliance about that.
Yeah.
All these things that are kind of evergreen you're going to be a lot safer with. So what's the mortgage process? How do I buy a home? How do I save money for a down payment? How much money do I need for a down payment?
Right.
You know, what are my options as far as that are concerned? Why do people refinance? You know, all these kind of generalized topics and those questions that, you know, that's a great thing. The questions that people bring up, those are great to make videos on. The emotions that people have, the beliefs that people have, the concerns that people have. These are all really great things to think about when it comes to creating video content.
And Andrew had a good point. Depending on your company, you might need to run your videos by your compliance department for approval. That's a good tool, guys. I know sometimes it seems like it's a pain in the booty.
Torture.
Yeah, like it takes time. You don't want to think about it, but honestly, they can help you stay safe. So use those resources if you have them. That's a great idea.
which one of the Kardashian girls got to hit yesterday by
Kim.
the SEC? Is it
Oh, yeah, that's right.
100 and
Even I saw that.
$1.25 million fine because she got paid $250,000.
Yeah.
Man,
She didn't disclose that she was
that
being
she owned
compensated.
the Bitcoin that she was pushing.
She did have hashtag ad though.
What?
She did have hashtag ad on it, but
Right, right. But they
saying,
didn't,
yeah.
the SEC didn't feel that that was enough, right? So I actually read this article. I don't know anything about them. I couldn't tell you which one is which, but I read that article because I thought, oh my gosh, the SEC is looking at this. And again, you know, like you've got to be careful, make sure you're compliant because they're finding these things. So it's not to scare you, it is to make you aware. And again, when we're talking during the week, I mean, on our Tuesday thing here, we talk about things that you could talk about in your videos. So there's plenty of content out there. And if you ever just, you know, again, take Megan up on her offer, you can ping one of us and we're happy to talk to you too. So again, there's enough positive out there that we're going to get through all this. And as far as the inflation, I just want to go to the inflation numbers just for a minute, because again, we just got new inflation numbers. They weren't great. They weren't horrible, but we have one more month to go of probably some pretty hairy inflation. So we are going to have, we aren't going to be out of the woods until November, because we're going to be looking at that October number, and that doesn't get stated until what, November 13th or something like that. So just, you know, like we're just going to kind of stay the course. We're going to work in our businesses, while we're working on our businesses, and make sure that get your CRMs together, make sure you've got a good database, pick up the phone and call people, call them. Kevin, you were calling your realtors. How was that going?
I did that. So I had a goal of calling. I used to do it back in the day, call 10 realtors every Monday, 10 clients every Tuesday. I had that down to a system. And I thought, well, you know, it's slowing down. I need to, you know, pick that up. I got 5 realtor calls back out last Monday. Got a deal into contract this morning. Yeah, they made it last night. We were in that conference, and in the middle of it, they were making the offer, and I had to break away. Okay, you know, thank God I can send a pre-approval letter from my phone now. That's pretty awesome. But anyhow, got that out, and they got into contract, and we were kind of negotiating what should they offer. And the same thing Megan's talking about. You know, okay, clients don't. You know, the realtors will tell them, oh, you need to offer this price to get the house. You know, and they need to hear from their lender too. And most lenders will never like get into, especially if they work for a big bank. Like, I don't know, it's not my job. You know, you get the loan and contract, I will do with it. But you know, we do, like, I coach my clients on, okay, here's what you want to do. What's your client telling? I told her to go $1,000 over what the agent told her. I go, $1,000 is going to cost you nothing, but it avoids a tie. You don't want the tie because you're going for that big number. And then, you know, one says anything in the number of the 5, and it was 6. What do you care? It's added to the loan amounts, it's pennies on a dollar over 30 years. And it got him into contract. So, yeah.
It's all about strategy. You have to have the knowledge right now to be able to talk about strategy. One, you know, all this market stuff that we're talking about, it's so important for starters, because it's going to increase your level of confidence. And that is going to increase, you know, the amount of people that you can convert into clients. But then also it's going to help with social media as well, because one, you're going to sound more comfortable and confident on video, but 2, you know, if we can kind of guess where the market is headed, then when we're meeting with that specific client, yes, we can have more of that strategy conversation, but we can also kind of foresee what are my potential clients' beliefs and challenges going to be in the future. And that kind of sets you up for knowing what to create content-wise right now and what to create content-wise in the future. And as I mentioned, right now, we really need to be focused on strategy. I'm nonstop hearing about people saying, you know what, they said that they want to hold off on purchasing because they think rates are going to come back down. You know, these are all things that we're going to have to overcome. And the more that we're more confident in what it is that we're explaining, we're going to be able to come with that strategy of, no, you know what, buy now, because you have less competition than you had back then. Now's a good time to get in, buy that home. And you know what, you're right. when we do see a recession, rates do come back down, but let's use that in our strategy. Let's refinance you then at that lower rate when that happens, but let's not miss out on this today.
So
Absolutely.
I have been echoing what you guys, mortgage, MBS high rate said all the time, and where we're going with the economy and how now is the best time. And I was at a networking event, and I happened to have someone who is in one of my networking groups, and so I've been preaching this stuff. So he's obviously been hearing, but I wasn't sure. So I ran into somebody new, and they said, "Oh, I don't know, rates are up. I don't know if it's a good time to buy." And I didn't say a word. He jumps in and he goes, "Oh no, now's the best time to buy. Kevin will tell you this, but and now I have a third party telling the person this, like how this is the best time to buy." It was so funny to watch.
Nelson, I've been loving this. It's been going around on social media. Marry the home, date the loan. There's also date the rate, but I've been really enjoying all those memes and videos that have been showcasing around that. See, that's a funny type of reel you could create.
It would be funny, actually.
So I would say that there's a question about the refinances that we did in 2020 and 2021 with the rates being so low. They're not going to let that go. And they are talking about that. Those people are less inclined to sell because why would you want to move? But there are life events constantly. So there are divorces and deaths and births and people need new schools or whatever. There are a myriad of reasons that people need to do something with their loan. And we focus on that. Don't worry about the people who have those really low rates until, by the way, they need cash out to pay for college, or they have, maybe they have like a 2.5% rate, but maybe they've got a ton of credit cards that are now at 26%. And I mean, I talked to someone who had $210,000 in student loan debt. No, like, you've got to run the numbers on that. Make sure that you do those blended rate scenarios. I know you've got one on MBS highway, but make sure you're giving them a clear picture of whether or not it makes sense to keep that low rate when they have other debt that's at a much higher rate. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So
no, I had that exact where I had a client and they had this great 30-year fixed loan, but they had like this equity line that was killing them, and then they had all this debt, student loan, went through the whole thing with them. And I just said, hey, it's kind of like you have this boat and you've got one side of the boat perfectly maintained, spotless, but the other side, it's got holes and stuff and it's about to, breach. The whole boat's going to sink, not just the side that's rotted. So you got to like balance your boat. You can't have just the one, 30-year fix at 2.5% interest rate, and then you're paying 7% on your equity line and 14% on these, credit cards or whatever it is. It's gotta all be balanced, or it sinks, or at least it'll start floating sideways.
All right, so let's just take a couple minutes because I did have a few little notes on some of what's been happening in the market this week, and these are some takeaways for you that you can use when you're talking to your client. So again, GDP final numbers for Q2 came out and they were negative. We are not officially in a refinance. We're not on the brain. We're not officially in a recession yet because the National Bureau of Economic Research, the NBER, is the institution that decides whether or not we're in a recession. Now, never have we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP without being in a recession. However, they have now defined a recession to include depth, diffusion, and duration. Maybe. Yeah.
So when we go 3,
you have to have a triple D for that.
Okay. No, so if we go third, but if we go 3 quarters in a row of downward
depth, duration, diffusion. Now I said it in the right order. So that's what they're looking for. I mean, it's hard to ignore 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP, and they kept trying to downplay it, but whatever, it is what it is. So pending home sales, signed contracts, they're down, not surprising at all. Atlanta Fed, I think they're hilarious. I don't know why. I don't know. We were talking about this yesterday. There's all these projections, right? Mm-hmm. Did anyone on the face of the earth project in January of 2022 what September of 2022 is going to look like? That would be a negative. That would be a no. So again, take them for what they're worth. But I thought it was funny that the Atlanta Fed came out with their Q3 GDP estimates. At the end of August, they were at 2.6. A week later, they're at 1.3. The next week, they're at, 5.5. Now they're down to, it's just ridiculous. They keep lowering them. So it'll be interesting to see where we end up. On another note, keep track of your lock expirations. I'm hearing about this being an issue. People let them go and the rate's just gone. No lender on earth is going to help you. They can't. It's impossible. All right. There is, check to make sure you're checking the disaster policies for properties that are located in the states that have been impacted by Hurricane Ian. It is extensive damage. I'm seeing them posted, but just make sure that if you've got a property that's in an area that might even hit somebody's radar as being impacted by the storm, that you have figured that out ahead of time. Okay. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I heard a great quote. I wanted to share it with you. It was from Sue Woodard, sorry. Technology won't replace LOs. LOs using technology will replace LOs. I thought that was brilliant because again, it goes back to what we're talking about today. We all have referral businesses, a lot of us. We have to incorporate social media in some sort of marketing into our plan, even though we are not buying leads or whatever, because people are using technology. They're using the internet and they want to be able to find you online and they want to be able to vet you ahead of time. And then they're looking for the answers to their questions and you better know what they're asking when they call you. So they're going to have the questions that we talk about every week. Have your answers ready. And the people who listen or are learning every week, you're going to win in the end because people want information.
Yep.
Right?
No, I've gotten deals from this show because I've known like certain things that just happened. And they call 3 banks and no, the rule just changed this week. They're like, well, the other guys didn't say that. I'm like, well, I know the rule just changed.
So I just want to say that CoreLogic also released their loan performance information, and the delinquencies are so low right now, 1.2% lower than last year on 30 days or more past due.
Yeah, I think might be, I was looking into that because we reported that last week and we were saying how low the numbers are. I think it's because you can still go into forbearance, surprisingly enough. Yeah, I looked at, some lender, I looked at my own bank and I'm like, look, they're still offering forbearance. This is crazy. Well,
they have been charged by this. The CFPB is all over them in terms of making sure they're working with borrowers. So just make sure that your clients know that. We talked about that all through the pandemic because there were so many people, they could have gone into forbearance, yet there were still delinquencies. It was so odd. So just make sure that, these are things that you can talk about in videos. These are things you can talk about with realtors. Again, housing does well during recessions. So we just get through the next few months, but we have to stay the course. We take these little tidbits. Megan, can you share your email address again?
Yes, Megan, MEGAN @mbshighway.com. And you guys, just all these questions that you're getting. Listen, if you're taking the time to go out there and get the knowledge to be able to answer these to that specific client or that specific referral partner, leverage yourself. Come on, leverage yourself, create that video. It's going to help you out. It's going to help all these individuals out that are struggling with the same concern and the same question. We just need you to be brave enough to get out there and do it.
Yes. Yeah. Just ignore the fear. Just power through it. You've done scary things before. You're going to be fine.
Yep.
Right. Okay. All right. So we're going to be at the National Association of Mortgage Brokers conference this weekend in Las Vegas. We are going to be looking for you for things that would help you in your business. Again, we're going to be doing a real blend of here's the news, but also here's what you can use in your business to build it right now. So just stay tuned and we will see you next Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Or maybe we'll see you in Las Vegas.
If you're in Las Vegas and you see us, tell us. We'd love to talk to you. So anyway, have a great week, everyone. Thank you so much, Megan. We love you and always appreciate your generous spirit, and make sure you contact her if you have any questions. Have a great week, guys.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Yeah, Audrey.